Stink, we're talking about the idea that, hey, Bo Nix back for year 2. People around here seem to see the difference. He's more in command, and you could see his leadership coming through even more. It's obvious this guy's the dude, and he's in charge. And I think that's awesome, but none of that really matters if you don't have the talent. And if you don't have the talent, then you're simply Teddy Bridgewater, Case Keenum, Trevor Siemian. We had an argument. A texter said, well, wait a minute. What about a guy like Jay Cutler, who had all the talent but didn't have those intangibles? What about him? Is that a fair argument? Jay Cutler, to me, in all the years I've been doing this, is easily, you want to do a daily top 5. Top 5 most polarizing athletes to come through Denver, Colorado. You could easily put Jay Cutler on that top 5 list. So is Jay the example that you can use that, hey, this is why leadership matters. This is why those other intangibles matter, because just having the talent, well, you can be Jay Cutler, and that's not enough.
Yeah, Jay Cutler has obviously a ton of talent. To that texture's point, though, I think he was saying the talent around the quarterback, right, is what he was referring to.
No, he was talking about the quarterback himself.
Read the do you have the text?
Well, I just paraphrased it for you. Yeah,
you just paraphrased it because it's not, to me, it's like, hey, you can have all those intangibles in the world, but if you don't have talent around you, or if you're not talented.
No, it's the talent of the quarterback. Yeah, talent of the quarterback.
Okay, so I would argue that Bo Nix is incredibly talented. Like arm talent is his arm talent. We saw the one throw, right? But we saw throws all over the place. We saw great throws, unbelievable athletic ability, his ability to scramble, his ability to make yards, his ability to be involved in the run game. From a quarterback run standpoint, not just scrambling, but designed runs. We saw that last year. His ability to understand protections and not take sacks. I could go on and on about his talent. So I think his talent is plenty. I'm not going to say he's the number one talent in football, but if I was putting his talent against other talented quarterbacks in the NFL, I would put in the upper third of just pure talent. I don't think I'd be false in saying that.
And that's why Richie, I'm so high on Bo Nix. That's why I think they've got the guy here, and it's because of his talent, his individual talent, and also just the idea of him and Sean Payton. It's funny. I look at them, and I think it's going to be harder and harder as we move on to sort of distinguish the two. I just think that they are going to be an entity, the two of them together, and that when we watch this offense develop, it's the collaboration of Sean and Bo that has me most excited. That's why I'm really not concerned about a sophomore slump for Bo this year, because for all the talk about, well, the league's going to catch up to Bo, I'm like, well, wait a minute. Think of all the things that Sean has in store for Bo and this offense that he didn't touch last year, that he didn't open up to Bo in this offense last year, that he's going to open up this year, and that's going to be something new for defenses to have to adjust to. So I really think it's more about how far the arrow goes up this year rather than him sliding back. But that was only my point, is that I'm really excited about Bo because who he is as a player and working with Sean. That other stuff is awesome. Don't get me wrong. But just understand what's most important, what has to come first.
I was going to say, the order of operations and what matters most versus least and how you're ranking it is certainly up for debate. And I don't think that ultimately the leadership quality, that aspect, the player buy-in and all of that is as important when it comes down to nut-cutting time as being able to just go out there and play on the field, because that ability to play instills belief from teammates and things of that nature. But if Bo Nix was a little bit more on the Jay Cutler side, or maybe like an Anthony Richardson or something like that, we would be talking about it, and we would be critical and or concerned about it. So I think it does matter, and I do think that, to your point, the aligning alongside Sean Payton, the potential there for this to be the guy that Sean picked And for Sean, who's got a lot of skin in this game from a reputation and a legacy standpoint too, Sean wants to become the first coach to win Super Bowls with 2 different teams and etch his name in history like that among the league's great. And I think there is potential if they continue to grow and develop for Sean and Bo to be, a Brady and Belichick or a Shanahan and Elway kind of combo because of how well they're in sync together.
Yeah, I'm with you. Like you get excited because how many times have we seen, well, we saw it here, a coach being forced to work with a guy that he's not on the same page with, that he doesn't believe in.
Mm-hmm.
Like, man, that's painful. That's painful to watch, and we've seen it. We see it all over. We see it all over the league. Saw it in the Giants. Even though they paid Daniel Jones, you knew there was this aspect of Daniel Jones that they didn't believe in. And when you go down that road, how many coaches get fired based upon that? I mean, how many coaches now is Trevor Lawrence on in Jacksonville? Started out with the Ohio State guy, and then it went to what is this? His third coach now that he's on?
Duval.
Right. So
That's so bad.
like those are things that you see. Kyler Murray, Kyler Murray going from coach to coach to coach. Like, those are things that you see when you don't truly believe in the quarterback or you're trying to figure out how to make this marriage work. Sean Payton got to handpick the bride and a guy that he believed in, and then, is starting to groom that guy or has groomed that guy and had great success with him in year one, in spite of not having all the weapons and all the things that you want to be in place for the Broncos. So those are all great things moving forward, that the base foundation is there. They built a great foundation, and now they're growing on it, getting Ingram, getting R.J. Harvey and all those things.
By the way, we went down this rabbit hole with Jay Cutler. You being around when he was playing, you were doing the TV and all that kind of stuff. What'd you hear about him? Was he just a total, hands off, not interested in being a leader, aloof, not a good teammate, or was? Because I've heard some reports to the contrary that teammates loved him. What'd you hear about Jay?
They're not mutually exclusive events. Like, you guys can love you, and you can still be, aloof, or you can still be, like one of those guys that, like I remember doing a Miami game when he was the Miami quarterback, and there was just a certain cavalier nonchalantness to the practice that I was like looking over my shoulder, remembering back to my own career, thinking to myself, if Mike Shanahan were in control of this organization right now, we'd all be getting our asses chewed. Like, there was just
so that was a Jay Cutler-led practice?
Oh, yeah. It was just like, nothing to see here, no big deal.
Oh, boy.
Shoes aren't really tied, but if chin strap buckled, nah, we don't really need to do that. Like, it just was, as a matter of fact, Adam Gase was the head coach. And I've known Adam Gase for a long time. And so we're walking in from practice, and we're kind of shoulder to shoulder, and I was like, that was the worst practice I've ever seen in my entire life.
You told him that?
Oh,
the head coach.
Yeah. Well, because it wasn't necessarily all his fault. Like, the owner, sold tickets to come out and watch practice with a bunch of men in business suits. It was the most distracted. It was awful. It almost gave me diarrhea watching it because it was so bad. I mean, it was literally the worst, one of the top 3 or 4 worst practices I've ever watched in my career of doing games. What did
Gase say when you told him that?
He's like, hey, I know. He just was like, wow. Like he essentially has no control over the owner bringing out, like, guys are talking to players, guys in business suits that are sponsors are talking to players. Like, what are we doing? Like, could you imagine? As much as you've been around Mike Shanahan, could you imagine a bunch of dudes in business suits milling around on Friday while we're trying to practice?
Oh, I would have loved to have seen him try.
Oh my God! Talking to like, hey, you're not involved in this period. Let's have a conversation. Could you even imagine the lid that Mike would flip? Gosh, I can't even fathom it.